Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Patricia Dawn, and this is my personal YouTube channel. And my desire is to share my healing journey in recovery from addiction and to bring forward the medicine wheel as a tool to support people who are joining the Red Road of recovery. And I really appreciate your time and attention today. This video is about the first step towards my journey in recovery, and what was shared with me was the ability and the spiritual practice of surrendering. So when I came into the program, I kind of was, let's just say, coming off the front line of a really hard and difficult life, especially as a young person. And I will eventually share my story. I just haven't determined how to do it in a good way, and I don't want to be exploiting something I suffered just to gain. I don't believe in it. I want it to serve. And so anyway, in that way of being in service, it was shared with me by a mentor of the Red Road that surrender is actually a spiritual practice. That once I come to accept that addiction is a disease, it's a fatal, incurable, progressive disease. It begins in the mind, begins in the insanity of the mind. And it finds its way, unravels its way through my mind, into the emotions, down into the body, to the physical, and alienates me from my spirit. So I become fractured, and I walk with a personality that carries woundedness, lost pieces, a fragmented structure of my personality. And so there's places in me that have been cut off because of the woundedness, because in that childhood I couldn't feel or accept the powerlessness and the harm because of being so incredibly vulnerable. And so what the psych does is it cuts off that shearing pain in order for the child to survive. And there's a lot of data and evidence around that. But the point I want to make today is the power of surrender, because it took me a long time to accept that, to understand it. And yesterday I heard it explained as the calm, coming into the calm after the storm. And I just thought, wow, that's brilliant. That's a perfect definition, because the storm was the insanity, was the violence, was the injustice, was the fear, was the absolute disillusion that I had been living by all my life. My decision making, if there even was a decision made and it wasn't just a reaction to a circumstance, or absolute fear and acting out and compulsive behavior. I mean, I can go on, right? The point I want to make is that in the act of surrender, in that very first step upon the Red Road, and I turn to face this disease and all its tentacles, because it affects everyone. It affects the family, it affects the future, it affects the past. It has tentacles that go beyond. It waits for those who have yet to arrive. It's a form of evil, by my estimation anyway. And so when I came into the first step and admitted I was powerless over this fatal, incurable, progressive disease, that admitting was the beginning of surrendering to the reality that I live with a terminal illness, and it'll be a lifelong process to keep it arrested. And I've been around the mountain quite a bit. I've got quite a few years walking the Red Road, but all that means for me today is I have fallen and gotten back up many, many times. And I've learned, and I've forgotten, and I've lost, and I've succeeded, and I've had all those pieces. But now, as I'm coming to the final act in my life, and I'm coming down the other side of the mountain, my desire is to leave those pearls of wisdom, the lived experience, to alleviate another soul's suffering from this horrific disease. And in the time of the Western culture right now, we are seeing an epidemic with the fentanyl crisis, with the explosion of deaths, young people, weekly. I'm hearing of death weekly. Like it's almost normalized, and it's absolutely horrific and unacceptable. And I could go on about that, and I'm not going to, because my intention today is to lay before you the gifts of the wisdom and the beauty of being able to surrender and follow the spiritual principles of the 12-step program, to bring into your life and weave into you those parts that never got to be born, that beauty that's yours, those gifts that the Creator placed within you that are yours to discover, to invite into your life, to celebrate, to wrap yourself in. And as you gain them, as you build into your true potential and your authentic being and who you're meant to be, who the Creator called you to be, as you arrive in that place and receive, become open, open-hearted, open-minded, open-armed, welcoming in and receiving the abundance and the beauty and grace that is rightfully yours. That as you embrace that and weave it into your being and it becomes who you truly are, you bring that forward on the red road, offering it to others, celebrating yourself, celebrating life, celebrating the richness that's come to you through all this work on the red road. And I promise you, there are blessings that are waiting for you. There are miracles that have your name written on it. And it starts with that first step. It starts with accepting that I'm powerless over this disease. And that didn't work for me as a street kid, I'll tell you. Everything that the program teaches me goes against what I survived on the streets. So it took a long time, and it was a lot of suffering, and probably needless. But that was the way it was for me at that time. And I'm not here to judge it, and I'm not here to defend it. I'm here to accept it. Because that's the next thing. Is once I accepted that I was powerless over the disease of addiction, I became empowered to surrender. To surrender my mind, to surrender my opinions, to surrender my fear, to surrender the fight. To no longer fight myself, fight the world, fight the circumstance, fighting. I feel like I've been a mosquito in a wet paper bag. Not a chance. But fighting against the unknown. Never arriving, never surrendering, never knowing, never receiving. Stuck in a mindset. And so my intention today is to offer that gift of surrender, because once I became accepting of the fact that I'm living with a life-threatening illness that lives in my mind and convinces me or attempts to convince me on a daily basis that I can still engage in old ways and old practices and old possibilities. Today my life is a miracle. Today I'm living in a way I never could have imagined. Today I walk with people in recovery all the time, every day. I work on the front line, witnessing the horrific impacts of this disease on innocent lives and good kinfolk that are just trying to do their best. Not understanding, not able to surrender, not able to find the red road. And so it's important to me. It's important to me that people get liberated, that people are set free from these ties that bind us through addiction, through the disease that lives in the mind and keeps the insanity rolling, that everyday suffering, crawling, begging, claiming, yearning, hurting, can have a resolution. We can live in the solution. And so that first step I took on the red road, and I accepted the powerlessness that I cannot cure this disease. I also came to understand that I am not the disease. It's like having a cold. It's like having a sunburn. It's something that's been put upon me. It's something that's come to live within me. It's like a virus. But who I am and who I'm meant to be is far beyond the disease. It's the limiting, discriminating influence of a society, a modern world. And that's a oxymoron. But anyway, this modern world tends to view me as less than and should be and how come, pull your bootstraps up, get over yourself. And yet Gabor Mate will tell us that it's the trauma from childhood that begins this shattered ways the lost inner connection to our own soul, that we live as aliens in our own lives, feeling separated, never belonging, terminally unique. And so when I stepped into the Red Road and accepted the powerlessness over the disease, I could feel a sense of relief. And as I surrendered everything I thought I knew and wanted and hoped for, as I let go of a sinking boat, I became buoyant and began to rise to the surface of life. I began to feel the hope and light of the sun of the soul. I began to turn towards the healing process and trusting the 12-step program. I began to open up to the people around me that really did care, because I'll tell you, on the Red Road, there's some strong medicine people. And as I began to let go and let in the teachings I was hearing, the stories that were being shared, and the care and kindness that had come my way, because we really know what it's like to stand there on that first step, to sit in the chair, awkward, lost, detoxing, full of fear, anxious. I was pissed off. I had fangs, one eyebrow. I couldn't talk. I had my back against the wall, and heaven help you if you came to hug me. But today it's not like that. Today I have an amazing community. I can ask for help. I don't suffer. I don't wait for crisis to make the decision for me. I've welcomed abundance into my life. I have children that are celebrating who they are. I'm reconnecting with my family of origin. I'm building relationships that have depth, integrity, trust. I'm coming to know myself in so many different ways, and I have so much to be curious about, to discover. The woman beneath my skin I'm just meeting. Which is kind of funny. Or at least the woman in the mirror thinks so. But the thing is I wanted to bring hope. And I wanted to offer some simple elements of the first step. And they're powerful, because that beginning, as I build my foundation of recovery with the bricks and the mortar of the spiritual principles in the 12-step program, it becomes a place I can stand on. It becomes a place I can feel strong and secure. I can build from. I can hold myself, my recovery, my family. I can live by these spiritual principles in the 12-step program in a way that has integrity, in a way that has virtue, in a way that my character becomes of value. That as I build and weave and heal my character, and the quality of my character grows, it becomes the quality of my life. And so just for today, as I end this video, because I'm so grateful to be here, I feel so blessed that I have the opportunity to come to the digital realm and share this journey with you and offer to you that which has worked for me, and that you join me and we weave this moment together, that we can live and invite in the joy and the wonder and the love of a life full of richness, curiosity, creativity, abundance, miracles, blessings. I mean, I can go on, and I will. I just wanted so much for liberation to enter into your life, that you don't have to operate from fear, that crisis doesn't have to be your choice point, and that you are deserving and worthy of a recovery journey that allows you to discover that beautiful being beneath your skin. Because I'll tell you, there's a lot there that you don't know yet. So I wish you the ultimate blessings in a day that brings you good, giggly fun. May you know and celebrate the very virtue of who you are, the gift of life that lives within you. May we all come together in the breath of the great oneness. And remember, we are all connected. We are all relatives on the Red Road, seeking sacred sobriety and recovery and the richness of it. May you know ultimate blessings. May today be a good day. May your gifts arrive. May you come home to the fire. May we meet each other soon on the Red Road. Hi, all my relations. Matak Yaswin. I hope.